Welcome clowns to a new Arena Tierlist. I made a first video about civilizations on Arena a couple of months ago, but since then we had balance changes. We also saw some development of the meta, and therefore this tier list will be a bit different compared to the previous one. And before we start, I would like to point out 4 things. First one is that I'm focusing on the very top level. Therefore, some civilizations can be seen stronger or weaker on the lower levels just because they could be, for example, easier to play. Second thing, we are focusing on the ranked arena version, not on the clown arena, aka map that will be used in Masters of Arena 6, but I might make a new tier list before this tournament as well. Also, this is completely subjective, so keep that in mind. Every player will have a bit different or even very different tier lists regarding Arena. And last thing, as I said, we had balance changes. We will have balance changes in the future as well. So this tier list is by no means final, and it's very likely that in a couple of months I will make a new tier list again, reflecting the balance that we will have at that point. Okay, let's start. We have there, I will start with Burgundians just because it's the only S tier civilization in my list, so I want to give you the objective for the other civilization afterwards. Why Burgundians? The Civ is just extremely strong. They have the best eco in the game. Recently there was a buff that the food cost of their upgrade of the economy upgrades is cheaper, so now they have bonus for every stage of the game. Early on they can make double bait, they can make horse collar or dark age. There's quite nice bonuses. Obviously it costs only half the food, so they can really afford this very early on. Feudal Age they can make Bosa right away. They mostly will do heavy blow as well, so most of their farms will be seeded with heavy blow. Right in Castle Age they can make wheelbarrow, and around 50 villagers, 60 they might make handcart. So those are all things that are really helping their eco. Other than that, they also have major bonus from relics. Relics are giving them also food and not only gold. This is again a huge benefit for their boom. And if that's not enough, they have likely the best tech tree in the game. They do have hand cannons, they do have bombard cannons, they do have halbs. Their hand cannons, bombard cannons are, by the way, likely the strongest in the game. They can make paladins, which are not the strongest because they don't have bloodlines, but they can make them way faster than other civilizations. Costelier, one of the strongest units in the game. You even have good monks. Like if that wasn't enough what I just said, you have great unique technology that give your farmers, or that your farmers producing gold. That's insane. And last but not least, you have Flemish Revolution, which I don't think should be part of the game, but now it's just likely the strongest unique technology in the game. You just basically need to boom on 7-8 DCs, get to 160-70 villagers, make 5 traps, and then just make Flemish Revolution, patrol everything forward, and very likely you will win with that push. If not, then opponent will just waste all his gold, he will lose all the positions, likely all the castles, and it will be just reboomed. If you have 10 TCs, you can reboom in 3-4 minutes anyways. So Burgundians, I think the devs went just way too far with Burgundians. Right now it doesn't feel like there's any counter to the civilization, and I think if you play well, you should be beating any civilization in the game with Burgundians. I played against the civilization recently a couple of times, even with strong civilizations like Malay, against players that are definitely worse than I am on Arena, and I got smashed because I simply don't feel that there is a reasonable chance that you have against this civilization right now, at least if opponent plays it well. Okay, let's move to the normal civilization. That's just Burgundians for you. If you would like really try to reflect the difference between the civilizations, I think we would start with other civilizations like here on B tier, maybe even C tier. Obviously we won't do that, but keep in mind that just the gap between S and A tier in our list will be way bigger than, for example, between B and D tier. Okay, so now about Aztecs. I will list them only as B tier, because it feels like the Civ doesn't have strong unit to go to in Imp. You have Arbalists which don't have Thumbring, you have Skirmishers which are good, but skirmisher isn't really the like go-to unit most of the time. Pikemen that are weaker than halves, at least against cavalry. You obviously don't have any cavalry. Jaguar warriors, not really. Eagles are good, but they have quite low HP for their gold cost, so not really the best option either most of the time. You have monks, you have siege, and that's like the strongest part that you of your game. I would still put Aztecs as B tier because they have great eco and they have very good monks. You can monk rush, likely the best div to monk rush with still. Obviously relics giving you extra gold helps a lot, regardless how they are playing the game. And so I think Aztecs should be aggressive in the game, and then they could be really strong. Other than that, if you like defend against Aztecs for some time, then they should be falling quite short compared to most civilizations. Still, they are solid B tier for me. Berbers, that's right to F. Poor civilization, no real eco bonus. Like you have faster villagers, but that's not the greatest thing ever. And you have really poor options going to imp. You don't have halbs. You basically need camel archers, or you are playing camel or such. Most of the time, simply halbs are countering you so badly, and yeah, Berbers just F tier for me, no doubt there. Britons, I would say lately best arena civilization, except Burgundians after the latest patch, but still Britons for me, really strong civilization has to be A tier. You know the reasons, amazing bonuses for arena, cheaper TCs, better, or the shepherds are working faster. It's a major bonus as well. And yeah, in imp you have amazing composition with longbows, traps, halbs, even light calves, onagers, you just name it. So Britain's definitely A tier there. Bulgarians could even justify I think F tier with them, but I will put them in D tier. The civilization has good options like halbs, siege onagers, conics are quite strong. You can make the two-handed. Also hussar, but one may be the best hussar in the game. So there are some like really good things about Burgundians. The issue is that they are so slow. They don't really have any eco bonus, and I think compared to any civilization that is like quite fast, I think they should just die very early imp. So for me, Burgundians just straight to D tier. Yeah, good options, just really slow civilization. Burmese, that's a solid C tier. I think with Burmese you can have some really good matchups, for example against, I would say, Celts, and against Scots, and against many infantry civilizations. On the other hand, you will have their really bad matchups, like for example against Britons. That's one of the worst matchups that you can face. So it feels like most of the time with Burmese you are quite ahead compared to opponent civilization, or quite behind. So for me, solid C tier. Still, in many matchups, even if you like feel behind, you can go smash. You have one of the best monk rush in the game. So Burmese is there for me as the C tier. Now we have civilization in every tier, so we can follow it up quite nicely. Byzantines, that's a borderline for me between A and B. I will put them as B. Just because they don't have any eco bonus really. They have cheaper imp, which helps, but it's like the only thing. Other than that, Byzantines have really good options in imp. This is why they are so high. Bombard cannon, siege rams, monks, cataphracts. Cataphracts alone can like counter many civilizations alone. And obviously cheaper skirmishers, cheaper arbalest, not cheaper arbalest, but full upgraded arbalest, helps, hussar, paladin maybe. So Byzantines, just because of their tech tree, are for me there in the B tier. And I could even justify them in like very low A tier, but I think it makes more sense that they are in the B tier there for me. Celts, that's a C tier civilization. If they can get to their full composition with like a lot of siege, they are close to unstoppable for most civilizations, at least for the civilizations that don't have like strong monks. It's tough to get there. The issue with Celts is that you have good eco, but you really don't have greatest options in early imp. So if you'll get pressured in early imp, by arbalest, by hand cannons, by bombard cannons, you can kind of struggle. So for me, Celts also against like Monk Rushes who don't have the best options. So for me, Celts are in the C tier. Still strong arena civilization. I would say overall solid. And if they would have something like Arbalest, for example, with Bracer, I would definitely put them even higher than this. Okay, China, obviously F tier civilization, one of the worst civilizations in the game, simply struggles a lot against onagers. Cumans, I will put them into B tier. I think people have learned how to counter the 2TC fast imp with Cumans that was played in the recent bans, but I still believe that Cumans are really high or should be really high because of their keep checks in imp. It's a really cheap army, at least gold-wise. Also, they are very mobile, they have quite high HP for an archer, 65 HP, and they have good pierce armor. So you shouldn't be just losing the keep checks too easily. And with their very cheap gold cost, I think you should be just able to kind of outlast opponent with the gold. Also, the Hussars really help there because they are producing Hussars so fast and they are full upgraded, so that helps a lot. And last but not least, you still have very good eco from feudal age. So I believe a lot of times you should be able to get into your composition with keep check and Hussar. If you potentially deny some relics from opponent, that definitely works for you as well. And yeah, simple. I believe that keep checks should be there in the B tier, no doubt. Ethiopians, I might surprisingly for some people, I might surprisingly put them very high. For me, it's a A tier civilization now. It just feels really clean to play with because of their eco bonuses, getting 100 food, 100 gold every time they up to next age. That's really good bonus for arena. And you have one of the best booms with Ethiopia. Amazing options, maybe the strongest Civ in the game in very early imp with Arbalest, with Pikemen already. You can make bombard cannons. Later on, you still have amazing siege. Shuttles can work for you in some situations. So I think Ethiopia is just really good civilization for arena right now. And for me, definitely A tier. Franks, that's a solid B tier. Good eco. Solid options in early imp. Obviously, if you get to full paladins with Franks, then you should be kind of killing anything. So that's an option for them as well, since they have really good eco. One of the best tips for the relic fights. So I could definitely justify Franks being in the B tier. Gods is right there to D. Gods is like very specific civilization because you have some amazing matchups against civilizations, like for example against Berbers, against Chinese, and even against some better civilizations in the top. But at the same time, you can just have their so bad matchups, you know, Gods versus Celts, God versus Bulgarians versus Franks, and I could name versus Byzantines versus Aztecs. I could name there many civilizations which just completely destroy Gods. So Gods, not really my favorite civilization because of that. Either you should be winning because of the matchup or you should be losing because of the matchup, which is more common. Also, you don't have really any eco bonus, so basically what you can do with Gods is all time you have to boom and then you hope that you do something in imp. Hence, my lovely civilization, I love them still. It's F tier. Obviously struggle against siege on ages, badly against halves. I don't think it's completely hopeless. Like Gods, I mean, Hans shouldn't have as bad matchups as Gods, for example, many times. But yeah, Hans, even though they have good eco, good Hussar, solid heavy CA, I think Hans are simply only in F tier. Incas, that's D tier. Another save that kind of fell in my eyes. You don't have really any eco bonus there with, I mean, yeah, you have free llama, which really isn't huge. Houses giving support to 10 villagers or a 10 population helps. It's not really anything major. So yeah, you have really weak eco and you don't have even the strongest units in imp. Kind of similar as Aztecs, you can go for Kamayuks, you can go for Eagles, for Monks, Arbalest, Skirmisher. That's basically it. You don't even have Siege on Ages. So yeah, Incas there for me only D tier. Indians, that will be C tier for me. solid eco, decent options in imp, obviously good hand cannons, bombard cannons, helps. Elephant archers are quite legit option if you can afford them. So yeah, Indians should be there just in the middle, I believe. Italians, again, for someone surprising, I'm putting Italians quite high. For me, they will be B tier, not even even low B tier. I think Italians are very solid. They have good monks and very important to have really good composition in imp. If you have Genoese plus Hussar, then not too many civilizations can really stop it. Also, you have bombard cannons, you have monks, so you can go for condotieros in early imp. Definitely can surprise opponent and work for you. So yeah, I think Italians are a solid B tier civilization there for me. Japanese, that's on the other hand, D tier. Not too many options, not the strongest div, kind of poor eco if you compare it to most, and I cannot justify putting them any higher. Khmer is like a borderline civilization for me. I could be putting them into B tier. I decided to put them into C tier rather. But yeah, you have really good eco. You will mostly open with Arbalest, which aren't the best in the game, but still it's a strong opponent with Khmer, and then you switch into Hussar. So you should mostly have map control in early imp, potentially most of the relics. You can kind of go for ballista elephants, maybe for full elephants, maybe for scorpions. You can go for onagers. So you do have some options that are kind of okay. Obviously not the strongest tech tree for Arena, but still because of their eco, I'm putting them into C tier. Koreans, I will put them into D tier. I will put them quite high in D tier because of their strong attacking options, aggressive options. Still doesn't feel like the strongest civilization right now. You don't have a great eco, and well, kind of similar as Bulgarians. You have strong options in imp, war wagons, halps, obviously the siege onagers, also towers definitely help. So Koreans can be really strong in hands of experienced player, could be very annoying to play against. Simply it's tough to get into their composition because they really don't have the best eco, and yeah, I think why they are like stronger than other civilizations there is maybe that they can go for like very aggressive options. For example, going for trash into fast team, basically the best civilization in the game for this strategy. So this is why I will put them like high in D tier, but I cannot really put them any higher than this. Lithuanians, that's for me here in B tier. A civilization that kind of feels weaker than I saw them a couple of months ago. Also, there was quite a major nerf to them when Lightis got -1 pierce armor, so now they have only 1 base pierce armor, which in since they don't have as high HP, compared, for example, to Paladins, makes them a bit weaker. So Lightis are still very strong units. One of the best cavalry units if you are facing, for example, Halps or like Paladins or such, but yeah, I will just put like this kind of low in B tier because other than that you really don't have the best options. You know, simply Arbalest would help you so much there. You have good skirmishes, you have hand cannons. You kind of need to get to like this in imp, which might get tricky. Magyars, that's a D tier here. Very slow civilization because they don't have any eco bonus. Obviously, if you get to their imp composition with Magyar, Hussar, and Heavy CA, should be winning most of the matchups, if not almost all. But it's really tough to get there. So I think Magyar is one of the civilizations that will struggle a lot in early imp. Obviously, the main benefit of Magyars now is that they are really good for the relic map control. You know, going for light gas that are cheaper, that have right away +2 attack in castlage, that really helps there. So this is why Magyars are for me D tier. Still, as I said, very slow civilization. Malay, I cannot hesitate. Malay definitely A tier here. One of the best A tier civilizations in the game. And yeah, they are just really fast because of the faster uptimes. That's such a huge bonus for them. And You can go for Arbalest, obviously, in early imp. You can go for Bombard Cannons. Karambits are quite legit option now after the recent buff to them. Also, you can switch into Elephants. Again, very strong option. So I think Malay definitely should be there in A tier. And we will see how strong the Karambit and Elephant play will be even in the upcoming weeks. Malians, I felt that Malians are quite good civilization. Few months ago or years ago even, they aren't. They really don't have the greatest options in imp. You have kind of okay eco, but not the best one. You can go for Monk Rush. It's not the strongest Monk Rush in the game, but it's still quite legit for you. Other than that, in imp you have to play, I don't know, hand cannons. You have kind of good champs, but not really the best ones if you are facing not only archer units. Light caps are good, but you don't want really to play mainly light caps in imp. So yeah, Malians only D tier there for me. Mayans, that's a solid C tier. Kind of opposite to, for example, Magyars. Mayans are really strong in early imp with their plumes and maybe switching to eagles. Later on, they are just not really gold efficient because all their good army is consuming a lot of gold. I didn't really see too many skirmishers or like the basically full skirmisher play in imp with the recent buff to their skirmishers, but I still think that Mayans are only there as a C tier there for me. Even in late imp, I believe that they shouldn't simply have the best options, but they still should be quite good. Obviously, main weakness of Mayans is if they are facing on-nature civilizations with, for example, champions, then they could have tough time beating that composition. Mongols could even put them into F tier. I will end with D tier, I believe. Fast civilization early on, you can get some relics. The issue is that on Arena you don't really, or like overall you don't have real eco bonus after the Dark Age. So your eco is basically in the end one of the worst, and you have to go for very expensive army, aka Hussar or Mangudais or Siege Onagers. So similar issue as, I don't know, Bulgarians or Magyars. Not the fastest civilization, having really good options in aim, but it's really tough to get to those. So I believe Mongols only D tier here for me. Persians, another D tier, okayish boom or even solid boom, but in imp you struggle with the unit composition. You can kind of go for Hussar, Halp, and Thrash Bows, which might be like trash efficient. In Thrash Wars it should be strong, but if opponent has gold units, then this shouldn't be really the best one. And sadly, you don't really have good gold options. Like Paladins, basically Paladins can do it, but they are obviously very gold efficient. Not gold efficient, they are very gold costly. So that can work for you. Maybe you have like Bombard Cannons. Yeah, and most of the time, as I said, you will end with Trash Bows, Hussar, Halps, which might struggle against opponent compositions. Portuguese. That's a B tier civilization for me. I don't think you have the best options overall. For example, in imp, I think they are like far better saves with their options. But why I see Portuguese quite good civilization, and I could even put them quite high in B tier, is because they have so many options. You can go for monks, and they are cheaper, and they have really good monks. You can go for organ guns that are really good for the map control. You can go like 1 TC organ guns into push. You can go fast in for Fate areas, and it can work for you. In imp, you can go for organ guns, you can go for bombard cannons, you can go for house, you can go for arbalest, you can go for cavaliers. All those gold units are a bit cheaper for them, so they simply have a lot of options, and it's tricky to read what Portuguese will really do in the game. Therefore, it's tricky to play against them as well. Saracens, that's a solid C-tier civilization for me. With their market, I think their eco is kind of okay. One of the, I would say medium eco. And you have Arbalest, you have Hussar. Kind of weakness that you don't have Halps. You have very strong Siege Onagers though. Obviously, market helping a lot in the later stages when you are selling resources for gold. So I believe not Magyar, Saracens definitely deserve their C tier. Okay, Sicilians. I did really struggle with seating Sicilians there, C or D tier. I think I will end with C tier. Before those recent buffs, when Surgeons are stronger, when they got Siege Onagers, when First Crusade is giving also resistance to monks, I would definitely put Surgeons as maybe even F tier. Now I think it's either like high D tier or low C tier. So I will end with the C tier here. We will see how strong they are still. Yeah, we will see about this civilization, but I think this will be quite accurate for them. Slavs, I think we will put them in very similar situation as Celts, so for me that will be only C tier. Overall, good eco, similar situation as Celts, kind of. You are really struggling in early imp. If opponent goes for monks are blessed halves in very early imp, Slavs do struggle against this. Their siege, they don't have heresy, so then that can be ugly for them. They are still fast civilization. So, and if you get to their composition with champs, with onagers, with Hussar, they can be strong for sure. So, like compared to those civilizations in the D tier that are also very strong in light imp, I think Slavs simply have the eco to kind of afford it quite early. But it's a tough civilization to play, and you most level and defend on the defensive side in early imp. So if you have, for example, a bad map, it can be real tough for you. Spanish, G tier here. Overall, I think Kongs don't really have space on Arena as a unit. They get converted easily by monks, and opening with Kongs I think is disaster on Arena against experienced player at least. And if you don't open with Kongs, then Spanish just don't have any eco bonus, kind of. They have solid tech tree, but not really any unit that would really strike me as something to go to. Yeah, their tech tree is full, but they don't have any bonuses for it. So let's put it this way. So Spanish, for me, D tier. Without Kongs, it's not really anything specific about the civilization. They can go for monks though, which can work for them. Tatars, similar Spanish, they're D tier. Also civilization without the best eco bonuses, and yes, you can go for heavy CA, you can go for Hussar, which is strong, you can go for Keshik, but again, it's kind of tough to get into those compositions, at least if you are playing versus faster civilizations. So I think Tatars only D tier here for me. Teutons, that's obviously A tier civilization for a very long time. Amazing siege, really good monks, really good infantry, really good cavalry, at least like if you don't include their trash line with scouts. And yeah, it's basically what you need on Arena. Good siege, good helps, great castles, chemistry, monks. Yeah, Teutons are strong, and they always were on Arena. Obviously, they have also very good eco with the cheaper farms. That helps a lot. Turks, another A tier civilization. Obviously, Janissary is really strong option, and Turks have the variability. They don't have the best eco. At least if you compare the eco of Turks compared to those, they just fell apart so much. But Turks, Janissary, likely the best unit in Castle Age. Really tough to stop it, especially if you put mangonels with Janissary, then it's so tough push to stop. And also you don't need to go for Janissary, you can just go for light caps. You have light caps instantly, and you can just get light caps, boom, and then go into Hussar, heavy CA, and bombard cannons, which are really good for Turks as well. So Turks, A tier civilization for me, and they have their options. They have more options. It's not really easy to read how Turks will play this matchup, or their matchups. Okay, Vietnamese, that's a solid B tier civilization there for me. Viper is kind of right about them. They are solid on Arena. You have good eco bonus. Rattan archers are great. Halps are very solid. Light caves are very solid for them in their like composition overall. They have bombard cannons with siege engineers, which helps a lot. So overall, I think Vietnamese, if they get into their composition in imp with the Rattans or even skirmishers and light caves and halbs and bombard cannons, they are really tricky to stop. So I think Vietnamese definitely have their spot in B tier for me. Vikings, that's a D tier civilization on the other hand. Feels weird because they have really good eco. The wheelbarrow and handcart right away helps a lot. It's one of the best eco bonuses in the game. But you just don't have the options in imp. Arbalest, skirmishes, so many civilizations or so many players are just opening with onagers on Arena, which completely denies like most of the things that Vikings can do. Siege onagers are like such a big counter to Vikings because they don't have really any good cavalry and they have very slow units with kind of low HP. So yeah, Vikings, despite their really good eco, I think they are only D tier there for me. You can basically most of the time, I think you want to get into Zergs later on, but even Berserks, if you face player with good onager micro or even with siege onagers, they should struggle a lot. So I think Berserks are only D tier there for me. Honestly, if they would have bombard cannons, I would right away put them into B tier, basically. But simply not having bombard cannons means that they only need traps in early imp, and that just might not be fast enough for them for the push. So yeah, this is how I see the civilizations. Maybe we can slightly adjust the civilizations in orders in each tier. So S tier obviously Burgundians, A tier. I think like S tier should be kind of banned in most drafts because simply whoever ends with Burgundians and playing them should win the game, no matter what civilization opponent has, at least the balance that we have right now. A tiers should be mostly banned in drafts or should be among the first picks for sure. I would say Britons should be there. I think Malay second. Ethiopians, I even put Ethiopians third. Teutons, Turks, I like it this way. I would start with Byzantines for sure. I will go with Italians, maybe second even. Yeah, let's put Italians second. I think Lithuanians should be somewhat high there. Yeah, I would say like this. Yeah, that makes most sense to me. Maybe even like this. Yeah, suggest here, maybe Vietnamese before Portuguese. I like it this way. There we should have Khmer very high. Yeah, I think we can go there behind this for Celts potentially. Slavs, which should be somewhat similar. I think Burmese, Indians, it makes sense this way. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think that makes sense. I can stay with this way. Yeah, Mayans and then Sicilians. I think there's a bit of a gap between Mayans and Sicilians. Sicilians really feel weaker than all the civilizations here in C tier. Okay, D tier, that should be Koreans, I would say quite high there. Magyars quite high. Mongols potentially quite high. Maybe Incas there behind them. Bulgarians should be really in the bottom. Maybe Persians about those civilizations. Let's even put their Spanish above those. Tatars somewhere like here, I would say Tatars, and then Vikings. Yeah, yeah, I think that makes the most sense, putting the civilizations in this order in D tier. And E tier, F tier, I think we can stay with this order. Yeah, for sure. So I would say this is the tier list that I would put there, the civilizations. Thanks guys for watching. I know that it was a long video, but 37 civilizations takes a while to see it. So I hope you really enjoyed that one, and I will see you soon with a new video. So see you, clowns.